thank you very much for joining us today to share your experiences of coronavirus and how this has impacted your family.
You're very welcome. I'm glad to be able to contribute.
Thank you. So we know that Kirsty has got pyruvate dehydrogenase deficiency, which is PDH for short. Could you tell me very briefly about how this affects Kirsty?
Right, PDH, she was born with this, and it affects the mitochondria, affects how she processes carbohydrate in her to create energy. So basically, it's like a catastrophic lack of energy. So where you and I need, eat a bowl of pasta and can go for a run, so she can't. So it's she's learning disabled. She's physically disabled. She uses a wheelchair. Her learning age is about 2 or 3, even though she's 17. So it has a hugely significant effect on her. And there's probably maybe about a dozen kids in the UK with this condition. Mostly it's girls who survive with it. So most of the children that we come across are girls.
Okay. And Kirsty's been identified as being extremely vulnerable. Are there any extra measures that you've been taking as a family on top of the shielding guidelines?
Well, the shielding guidelines didn't work. It says you to keep 2 meters apart from your child. It doesn't work for a child with a severe learning disability. She needs personal care. She's not confident. She's in nappies, giant nappies. She's tube fed. We have to do percussive physiotherapy on her, and as well as other different types of physiotherapy. It just doesn't work. We did get another set of guidelines from Great Ormond Street to try and help families with disabled children to adapt the shielding guidelines to work. But it just basically meant that we, as a whole family, all 5 of us, locked down, didn't go out, didn't go shopping. Everything that comes into the house gets washed, gets disinfected. So it was a much bigger thing than just stay at home.
Right. And are you taking care of Kirsty yourself? Are you carrying out the care yourselves?
Yes, we are. Now, my husband is the main carer. I'm the main breadwinner in this family. We swapped about 5 years ago. But I've been furloughed for the first few months. Now, for the last 2 weeks, I've been asked to go back to work. So that's another big pressure. My work has been totally distanced with perspex screens everywhere. With there's only one person in each area, with tiny workforce back, hand sanitizers everywhere. And when I come back from work, the first thing I do is my husband turns the shower on, and I get in, I shower, I put my clothes in a pillowcase to go in the washing. I try and make sure that I don't touch anything, no door handles, nothing to get into the house and so on. So it sounds like extreme measures, but we know that this virus could be catastrophic if it gets in our house.
Yeah, absolutely. And that must have quite a big impact on you emotionally as well, dealing with this.
Yes and no. Because when you have a very vulnerable child, every winter when you get into flu season, you have a discussion, in your head, you have a thought, this could be the winter that we have a really bad flu, and that this could be significant. Now, Kirsty has been seriously ill in hospital before with chest infections, pneumonia, flu type things. And we know that she is at significant risk. So this is just that, but multiplied. That normal risk we had every winter is, everybody's got it now, and everybody's realizing that what we used to think about every winter going into flu season.
Yeah, so you're dealing with that now. Kirsty's got carers coming into her house. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, she's got a whole package of care organised by social services that involves home care, people who come to help feed, change, personal care, bath her, get her ready for bed, those sorts of things, as well as respite care where she goes to stay overnight, as well as clubs where she'll go like every other weekend or so, where they can also do all the feeding, tube feeding and the personal care. All of that is completely, there is nothing. So nobody comes to the house, and she's not going anywhere at the moment. Everything is just cancelled, stopped, furloughed. So, and the social group that I chat with online with the other children in the same condition, some of them are really, really struggling, because this is not just, it's not like having a normal toddler who will grow up and develop skills and be able to look after themselves. It's completely different. This is lifelong. It's 24/7, 7 days a week. It's day and it's night, and it's constant, and there is not a break at the moment.
You're working as well, aren't you now? So
yeah, I've gone back to work for the last fortnight. I've gone back to work, And
how has that impacted
my
you?
husband's the main carer. And work, they have been very good in that they've implemented lots of screens, all the social distancing, lots of hand sanitizer. The kitchen is closed off. There's only one person per area working in. I've actually now been made redundant as well, on top of being furloughed for a couple of months. So now I've got to look for another job. So that's another pressure. And I'm sure to lots of other people as well.
What impact has it had on Kirsty not having people in to care for her at home?
Well, she's a very sociable person. She loves the people who come to, to look after her. She's developed a lovely relationship, and it's a distraction from mum and dad, because at the moment all she sees is us, just the family, and she's not going out. She's used to going to dance club where you go and, there's a little group of them where they all go and dance. She's used to going to school. And some of these things have tried to do online stuff, but from this internet connection that we're doing with you, that our internet is not good enough to do these types of online visual, meetings. And she's missing all that, hugely. She wants to go and hug her friends and see people and have all the interaction. She's missing it.
And from your perspective, so you're both caring for her 24/7 and you're providing all that care. Are you finding that that's quite a lot of pressure on you guys?
It is. It's a huge amount of pressure, because there's no let up, there's no break.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere that she can go where she can go and have some time, and we can think, right, for example, TV. We can't watch the programs we'd like to watch because she's 17 and she doesn't go to bed until about 9:30, and she's too frightened to watch any TV that has anything beyond about a toddler sort of level of comprehension. So most things, we can't watch all the Netflix stuff that other people are watching because we can't. Otherwise, we'd have to stay up till 1 a.m. and then we'd be like on death's door next day because she'll be up, she'll need her pad change, she'll need her tube feed, she'll need her physiotherapy. We've got to do it all.
Yeah. So it's also struggling to find time for yourselves then as well.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
An impact on all the family.
You can't go anywhere. And getting the food was another nightmare. So you get the letter, the shielding letter, that was March. But when we tried to get online food deliveries, we weren't on their lists. We didn't exist on the supermarket's lists. And they kept saying, no, you are not registered. And we're saying, yeah, we've got the letter. If you weren't already registered for any online delivery, the other supermarkets would not even accept you to register. And the one where we did have a registration, they said you're not on the list, so therefore you can't. But there were no online shops. So we had strings of friends doing bits of shopping for us and leaving it at the gate. And then we would go and disinfect it or wash it and bring it in. So we were relying on the generosity of other people to help us keep going in the first sort of month of this, until finally we got a message saying we were on the priority slots. And even those weren't for until another 3 weeks afterwards. But it is, now we've got to organise it. It's slightly better now.
So I know you mentioned earlier that you've obviously got your internet connections because of your location. How are you staying in touch with Kirsty's consultants?
Telephone.
By telephone only, and how that?
We're still getting the odd letters for various appointments, but they've been on phone since I think the February or the March one that we had. She rang us, the professor did, because it's too risky to take Kirsty anywhere. But yeah, by phone. But the thing is, by phone, for example, respiratory, you can't listen to somebody's chest over the phone, can you? So they can't actually do a proper assessment of how she is. And things like physiotherapy, they've sent us another bit of equipment because her legs are starting to tighten up and seize up. They sent us a bit of equipment to try and straighten her legs. We were trying to use video and on his poor internet connection to show the physiotherapist what the piece of equipment looked like on Kirsty's legs on the kitchen floor. And it was chaos, it really was. So the support of how to put the thing on, how to use it, it's not the same and it's not working.
Lucy, for sharing your experiences and your feelings as well with us. It's really important. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.